Hello. Hey, these are nice, aren't they? I mean, these are really, really nice. I think these are the nicest new media players I've seen in several years. These are the new AlphaTheta CDJ-1500X, which I've paired with the Zone 24C mixer. And I think you'll agree, they go really nicely together. So this is our review of these units. I've been playing with them for just a little while here in the studio, but I got plenty to say. So stick around where we're going to look at who they're for, what they cost, what they do, what they don't do, and our thoughts on them. Right, sure, shall we get stuck in? Right, so to start with, you can see that these are a compact media player. They are much smaller than the CDJ-1500X, which is a huge device, massive thing. But they've got the same size screen as the CDJ-1500X, which means they are instantly very, very striking because that screen is taking up the whole top here, almost the same size as this area here, which is very radical for a player from this brand because they've ditched all those buttons that they use for looping and memory cues and all that kind of thing. Just a single beat loop button. Hallelujah. It's a rotary endless controller with a push, just like they've used on some other recent gear, but not on a media player before. Single browse button, single browse knob, really the same style and design. Hot cues across the top, hot cue delete. You've got your back and track tag, a nice long tempo throw, and then cue, play, pause, and shift. And that's it. That's literally it for the physical controls. How mental is that compared to what I just showed you, or compared to the XDJ-1000 Mark II? Now note, these are CDJs. These are, I think the XDJ line, we've got to conclude, for standalones is now dead. They're just going to call them CDJs. They are a little bit bigger than the XDJ-700. I'm going to guess that the idea is that these CDJ-1500Xs replace both the XDJ-1000 Mark II, which looks very, very old-fashioned next to this with its little 7-inch screen, and the XDJ-700, which is the one most closely related to this. These are designed for people who want something they can use somewhere small, like small bars, small venues, but also I think increasingly for home users who just want separates. They don't want a big all-in-one unit. And the design language on here is really interesting. I think we can see now that AlphaTheta is trying to push something new. And I'm going to show you in this review some of the things which do underline what I just said there. So apart from being very compact with the same 10-inch screen, they have got lots of new features on that screen. So let's look at this, for instance. Here's my main waveform across the bottom here, and you can see it's got my areas where there are vocals, areas where there are different parts of the track, all marked up on there, which is something new. And you can see I'm doing the usual scroll through thing here. This is quite nice, isn't it? You've got the play position scrolling here. I just noticed that when I do that. So this is all the modern stuff, right? You can see that they've really tidied up and modernized the way the main screen looks here. So lots of touchscreen controls. Quite notably, the only way to use sync is to press the button on the touchscreen. And we've got the usual stuff here. Tempo adjust is on here now. The controls for gate cue and auto cue are all up here as well. Beat loop, the slip mode is still here and stuff, but you access all that by tapping here and you can get into the controls here. Here's our beat loop controls as well. So you really do have to be happy with using the screen to do a lot of stuff on here. Now, if you want to get into the deeper settings, you can tap this here and there's a shortcut screen which has got a lot of the new things on it. So for instance, here you can see we've got our waveform phase meter choice there. We've got some of the cue choices. We've also got the stuff for quantize and for touch and release. So the you can get that kind of vinyl feel and all the usual stuff. And check this out. Whoa, we've got a light mode for those times when you need to be able to see a little bit better. And you can even turn the waveform light as well if you want. So lots of stuff there hidden away. And you've got the usual utilities menu in there as well with all the other stuff that you would expect. Now, immediately here, the thing that I'm missing the most is there is no key sync or key shift. On a player that costs nearly £1,500, that is a major omission. Come on, guys, really? However, That withstanding, it's got pretty much everything you would need on here. So it's got the usual connectivity that you would expect from a player like this. So you not only get to connect here, I'm currently connected to my USB, but if I go back here to the source menu, then I've got my cloud. I'm already logged into the cloud here. So from inside the cloud, I can go to my Apple Music, Beatport and Tidal, no mention of Spotify, and also to the Rekordbox cloud. So we have got all those choices there, as on their modern players that have been coming out recently, but there's a good choice there of streaming services. I just tapped something there to get away from that. Now, and across the top, all the usual stuff you'd expect. So tag list for preparing, playlist search, request. This is for a new feature that lets you take requests from the audience. We'll do some separate coverage of that at some point. And then down here, actually no change at all to what you'd expect on this software here. But as you can see, it all looks very, very nice on this screen. Another thing they've added is NFC on the front here. So here, so you can use your phone to log in if you've got Rekordbox on your phone. But look at this. This light here, you can change to any color you want. And I've actually shown you the wrong player there because I've got these networked up at the back. I'll talk to you around the back of the players in a minute. But if we look at this player, then not only have I got a different color light on there, so I can get it all digital DJ tipsed up, but look, this is where the USB goes. That's absolutely brilliant. You've got a USB-C and a USB-A there. That is the absolute perfect place for your USBs to plug in. Why didn't they think of that ages ago? Well, I guess there used to be a CD slot there eons ago. I think that's just a really nice choice, and to be able to change the color of that light is also quite nice. So let's go around the back of the player and have a look at what we've got here. So quite simple around the back. We have a computer USB-C connector there. You can use Pro DJ Link with up to 4 players via a hub. I've just linked these two together so that they can share information and so on. It's how the waveforms are showing on the top of the screen. Standard stuff there, really. And then as we move along to here, just the analog outputs. There's no digital output on this unit. And power from USB-C as opposed to an IEC or kettle lead. I actually don't mind that. I actually don't mind using USB-C. Obviously it's USB-C. I think it will be the higher powered PD. They give you a power brick in the box. I actually have never been a fan of power bricks, but since USB, you know, we're used to it on our laptops and stuff, I actually don't mind it. I think it was the fact that if you lost or broke the transformer box, the brick, then you'd be in trouble, but this is standard stuff. I think that's actually quite nice, so I've got no complaints about that on a smaller unit like this. These units have quietly got onboard analysis. Of course they have, because they can link up to your streaming services and they're going to need to analyze music on board. And there's settings in there for dynamic or normal analysis, depending on the kind of music you use. Not had time to properly test that yet, but that's a promising addition. And they also have Wi-Fi and work fine with connecting to Rekordbox on your phone, iOS and Android. And also they will connect, obviously, via that USB-C to Rekordbox running on your laptop. Also to Serato DJ Pro. Probably won't unlock pitch and time though, so if you do want to somehow use key shifting on Serato, you're going to need that sweet license. And DJ Pro as well on laptop. So as you can see, I've paired it with the Zone 24C from Allen & Heath, an absolutely lovely little mix. I just think it looks really nice with that. Also would look quite nice next to the DJM V5. We don't have that little 3-channel baby here anymore. One thing that I don't think you would be using this with in a hurry is this beast. I mean, it costs more than the units added up probably, but also it looked pretty silly, wouldn't it? Yeah. However, there does seem to be a little gap for a nice modern mixer to go between these. So maybe there's one coming, who knows? So things we like then, there was a gap for this. There really, really was. They're thoroughly modern. They've got everything, nearly everything you'd expect on them. And they just are a desirable item. I don't think there's any debate about that. However, this waveform, I don't think is massively smooth. I just think that that could have been a little bit more high resolution and a little bit smoother in scrolling. There does appear to be a little bit more jitter than I would like on there. They're certainly not as smooth as on the Denon DJ equipment, for instance. There's no digital out around the back. I'm not sure that's a massive issue. There's also limited information on the jog wheel. As you saw, it's just showing you how far through the track you are and whether the jog wheel is actually rotating or not. And there's just one other thing that I wish they would have done on a player of this price on first play, and that is the hot cue buttons only have one color. So you can actually save hot cues on these. There you go, just save that hot cue, there it is, to jump back to. And you'll see that the color of the hot cue there is green. That's normal, right? I could also save a loop. Let's stick a loop in there, save it on that one there. And you'll see the color of the loop is orange. But the color of these are all orange. I would like the hot cues to have been the same color as they are on the screen and the loops to be the same color as they are there. So you're sure that what you're pressing is either a hot cue or a loop. Not too sure why they didn't do that. That might have been nice. I think they're going to sell bucket loads of these. No, they're not the cheapest thing in the world. €16.99 and dollars, I think, 14.50-ish pounds. They're not the cheapest things in the world, but plenty of our students go and buy CDJ-1500X setup just because they want separates at home that feel a little bit more like what they might find out or about, or they just prefer separates, right? These are filling that gap in the market for a modern mid-size separate. So for general DJs, for DJs that have got the money to spend on something like this at home, and also for smaller venues that need a bit more flexibility and don't want to splash out the big cash on the literally, physically, and also financially much more committed gear, I reckon these are going to do very well. And with all the modern connectivity, not forgetting the chance to change the coloured lights underneath to suit your particular style. Honestly, I am that shallow. They make me smile and I do like them. So not perfect, but certainly a fitting replacement for some very, very old players in the range. These are the AlphaTheta CDJ-1500X. Of course, we will have a full video manual and training tutorial for these units coming soon, so keep an eye for that, out for that over the coming weeks. Meanwhile, what do you think about these units? What do you like about them? What do you not like about them? What should they have included? What have I missed? What haven't they included? What have they included you weren't expecting? All that stuff, please let me know underneath. And of course, if you're ready to learn how to DJ properly, not only on this, but on any DJ gear, then it could be time for you to join us here at the world's favorite DJ school, Digital DJ Tips. Our all access program has more ways to get on it than ever and has training not only in full course format from DJs such as Jazzy Jeff, James Hype, Layback Luke, Ferry Corsten and many more, but it also has hundreds of mini lessons, mixed transitions that you can try, and us in there helping you to improve your DJing by critiquing your mixes and giving you help for anything you get stuck on. It's a fantastic and phenomenal investment in your DJing, and by scanning that QR code or going to that link, you can learn more about All Access. Meanwhile though, from me, Phil, here in the studio with the CDJ-1500Xs, get good, get out there, make the moments. We'll see you again soon. Bye for now.